Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. If you are out there and you can hear me, give me a little thumbs up. Say hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is that you are in the world. Let me know. So, for those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Raphael and I am an astrologer, a tarot reader, and numerologist who also uses energy work. So that's how I come to all of the conclusions for the information that I'm going to give you. Whenever I'm talking about astrology, I'm always talking about whole sign tropical Western astrology, for those of you that would like to know. For those of you that are here right now, you know Rafi loves you. Thank you so much for spending a part of your Friday with me. It means the absolute world. And for those of you that are watching this after the fact, thank you so much. You guys also mean the world to me. So I hope you are having a wonderful Friday as you are tuning in. And I hope you are ready for today's foray into whatever is taking place and shaping up with Venus. So you've probably seen the title of the video, Venus Vibes, Cultivating Creativity, Love, and Harmony, right? So this is literally that, but it's more. We go beyond that, right? What we're going to do is check in here to see kind of what's going on with the Lady Venus, the celestial body of beauty, love, harmony, creativity, relationships is also Venus stuff. So Venus, in a way, Friday is Venus Day, right? Because the word Friday comes from Freya's day, which is for the goddess Venus, right? So that being said, welcome to your Freya's Day presentation. I hope you are having a wonderful day of it, and let's get straight into it. So, in the comments right now, I want to see how are you guys? How has your week been? How is it closing down so far? And how are you feeling about all of the above? Where is that? Let's do this. Oh, I can't actually find what I'm looking for. Bear with me just a moment. Um, oh, that's odd. Strange, strange. Mm, ah, okay. Well, I can't find what I'm looking for, so let's get back to it. All right.
Have you financed the?
Ooh, sorry about that. Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, good morning, sweetie. Hello, hello, hello. Laurel Berg, Jan Wallace, one of my newer members. Oliver Twisted, hello, my brother. Beatrice P, lovely to have you. Paul Gritzelmaker, good morning to you as well, buddy. Asleep by nine, good morning, good morning, good morning. Sorry, bear with me just a second. Oh my God, I had a random question. Did anybody else have like really odd dreams last night? Or maybe it was just me. Like it was so weird. And it was just like really like weird random imagery as well. It was just like a bit sort of out of it, to be fair. When I woke up this morning, I was like, huh? Um, Friday is vendredi in French. It most certainly is. Hello, hello, hello. Been a busy week. In Italian, we call Friday Venerdì for Venus. Yes, you most certainly do. Look at that. I love it, right? So we've got lots of overlaps going on. Um, in Greek, so as many of you know, part of my heritage is Greek. Friday sounds kind of dirty, and it is Paraskevi. My nana always used to say, like, I don't know why we call it this. It sounds very dirty. All right, so we've got it was the geomagnetic storm that was happening last night. It may very well have been because I was all over the place. Like I slept really well, but my dreams were just really like all over the place. So I was really kind of like, oh, I was awake at 5:30. Yikes. Mind you, I say that my alarm goes off at 5:45 every day, so I feel your pain if it makes you feel any better. Okay. Yeah, I woke up this morning and there are some incredible pictures out there, even from people in the UK that saw the Northern Lights. It was beautiful. Um, Oliver says, no dreams at all last night, completely blank, or I don't remember. It's probably that your brain is protecting you from whatever mischief you were getting up to in your dreams, Ollie. All right, so Friday, right? So obviously, we're here to talk about Venus. And what's interesting about this, to be fair, is obviously Venus is still in the sign of Scorpio. But before I get into that, bear with me just a second. Okay, so um, I'm thinking. So what obviously we're here to talk about is Venus. So in terms of this. Venus represents love, beauty, harmony. We know those things. Venus also, so people talk about Venus and say that Venus represents money, but actually, Venus represents the worth and the value that we derive from money. If we're talking about money as a strict sort of principle, an idea, and a material, Mercury is actually the ruler of money. But Venus is luxury, it's goods, it's the things that we like to do, to buy, to experience on a material or sensual level and that we get from that money, right? That we make from those resources. Those are the things that really are Venusian. And this is also about value, it's about worth. Venus is our talents and our, like, if Mercury is our skills, Venus is our talents. It's the things that we're good at, the things that help us shine from within, the things that make people notice us. Sometimes that's our beauty, sometimes it's our voice, sometimes it's our artistic or singing or creative or dancing abilities. Venus is all of those things that bring us joy, that really are innate from human beings, are very much Venusian things. Sorry, I have bloody snotty nose at the moment. It's not pleasant. That's not very Venusian, is it? Um, now, the fact that Venus is actually moving through the sign of Scorpio, we've talked about this. This is a darker Venus. This is a more sort of somber and serious Venus that wants commitment, that wants depth, that wants power. This is a Venus that really requires us to be present and to be focused, right? To be completely dedicated to whatever or whoever it is that we are connected to in those Venusian ways. When it comes to art and creativity, Venus is the love of the macabre. Venus in Scorpio is the love of the macabre. Anything that has like a deeper or a darker sort of note to it. It could be Tantra, you know, like those really deep, intimate connections as opposed to just that surface level. Scorpio doesn't do anything at the surface level. Scorpio is naturally very deep. It's intrinsically linked to depth and power, power play, who has power. It's also linked to money, finances, resources, but this is like big money, hidden money. When you think about the word plutocrats, right? Those hidden, very wealthy figures in our world, those are very scorpionic, right? These are people that have immense power, right? Because as the saying goes, whoever's got the gold makes the rules. So Venus in Scorpio can see a it can see us really being very drawn to those types of things at this moment in time, finding the beauty in the darkness. I read a post the other day that really succinctly put together all of the words that I usually talk about. Hi, Kelly, lovely to have you. And that is, I often say to people, we need to stop conflating darkness with evil, right? Because it's not always the same thing. When you think about the fact that we have nighttime, if we didn't have nighttime, it's scientifically proven. If it was just constantly sunlight, human beings would literally die out. We would go insane because we need sleep. We need the dark in order to sleep. It regulates the solar and lunar energies, the night and the day, those circadian rhythms are hardwired into our bodies, right? When you close your eyes, think about the peace and the stillness that you find in the darkness. When you think about a baby and how a child gestates in the womb, there's no light in there, right? It's in a dark, warm, moist place. So this idea that darkness is always a bad thing is something that we really need to get rid of. So Venus in Scorpio can help enlighten us to the beauty or the talent or maybe even the value in the darker spaces. And that's what I think Venus has really been kind of trying to teach us in its sojourn through the sign of Scorpio. So, question. Beatrice says the seed needs the darkness of the soil to sprout. Absolutely love that. Look at that, right? Nice, short, succinct. Beatrice, you should be here. I just waffled on for like nearly 5 minutes. Right? But Laurel says, colouring my roots this weekend. I love it. It's like a perfect example, right? So hopefully that gives you like some idea. You know, one thing that I often say as well, like if you've been with me long enough, you'll have heard me say this. I love a bit of salt and pepper. Salt and pepper is wisdom, right? Those grays in your hair, celebrate them. Getting older, getting wiser, maturing into your looks. It's a privilege, right? It's an absolute privilege. The fact that we're living longer these days is amazing. Just think about, 120 years ago only, how much shorter people's lifespans were. Look how far we've come as a society. It's incredible. Okay, so we talked last week about Venus and the moon being those bitter queens. Well, we don't have that energy this week. Oh, Paul's in the sweat lodge. Look at that's a perfect thing to do for Venus in Scorpio. That is absolutely a brilliant thing to do, right? Venus, when you think about like that sensual, physical, tangible feeling energy in the water sign of Scorpio. If any of you have ever done a Native American sweat lodge, if you haven't done one, I absolutely advise you to do it. It was one of the most profound experiences I've ever had. And I tell you, it really, and I remember because I went to mine, I was only 21 at the time. So this was literally just before I'd started my Reiki journey, right? So at the time, and I could feel like I was in that space where there was a lot of big change coming. And so I'd already started preparing myself with all of these different things that I knew I needed to do. And the sweat lodge was one of them. And I remember when I got there, um, sorry, story time with Rafi. Right, but I remember when I got there, there was this tree, and I was so drawn to it. And I remember saying to, because it was a guy and his wife that run the lodges, and I remember saying to her, like, there's something really intense about that tree. And she was like, you got that, huh? And I was like, yeah, why? And she said, well, it was literally just struck by lightning last night, and we're not sure if it's still holding the charge. And I was like, whoa, okay, that was, it was a really, that was kind of like a nod to say, like, you're in the right place. There's very tower-like as well, right? And not long after that, things got very intense for me. So, very interesting experience. But if you haven't done it, go. It will be one of the best things that you ever do. Now, that being said, um, Venus is coming to the end of her sojourn through Scorpio. So, in the comments right now, if you're here right now, let me know where is Scorpio in your chart? What house does Scorpio occupy in your chart? Where is Venus blessing you with her sweetening and lightening energies? Where is she bringing that healing or soothing balm to you in your world at this moment in time? Get at me in the comments, and I'm gonna have some of my tea. Hmm. Ah. The magic of tea. That's I don't know if you can see that. It's fennel seeds. I love my fennel tea. All right, so Laura says this is first house. Heidi says it's the eighth house. Venus in the eighth house. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to share it with you again. Venus moving through the eighth house. It's in a natal chart. Venus in the eighth house brings what they call the touch of the goddess. It's actually the mark of somebody who has healing powers. But as a move through the eighth house, this could actually have really helped you get to grips with some of the darker or heavier stuff in your psychology. Maybe even helped you try to heal some of your past wounds. Venus is a lightning and a healing energy. It's known as the lesser benefic. So this could have been a really nice transit for those of you in the eighth house. Could be that you got gifts from partners or, people that are considered, close confidants, etc. It may have even seen your resources expand over this time, right? Remember, wherever Venus goes in our chart, she lightens that space. She cleans it up in a way. Christina says Venus Scorpio in the seventh with Mars at the moment. No, I'm not talking about natal placements, lovely. I'm talking about where Scorpio is in your yes, I am talking about your natal, but not your natal planets, just where Venus is traveling through at the moment. Sorry, I got completely turned around then. Scorpio North Node in the fifth house. Okay, so nice. Pleasure, romance, joy, fruitful endeavors of a relationary matter or a relationary manner. This might have even seen you decide to get more physical, more physically active. It would have made it easier for you to do that. It's also very possible that if you have children, maybe things around or with your children took on a little bit more weight over this transit. If Venus moving through the first house is always really nice, because Venus moving through the first house, it gives us a glow up. It makes us more attractive to people. It makes people receive us better. They listen to our words more. Venus moving through the first house is always very welcome. Donna Shatara, hope I'm saying that correctly. Good morning from Texas. So if that's your natal Venus, we're talking about your Scorpio placement. So what house does Scorpio represent for you? Heidi, yes, your Reiki journey is starting soon. Excellent. Kelly McKeever says, I am celibate. Okay, and you know the beauty of celibacy? Not only does it enhance your personal power, but it also enhances your spiritual power. And when you can circulate that energy that comes up when you feel aligned with somebody that you find amorous feelings for, when you find that energy and you circulate it around your own body, it actually has a very powerful healing effect on your physical being. So there's other ways to use that kind of energy as well. This is turning into like story time come lesson time. Okay, so in a second, I am going to share the chart for today. Let's put that up and bring this back to minutes. If you are ready to get into this Venus goodies, drop some hearts for me in the comments right about now. If you are here, I love that, and continue doing so, lovely. If that's what feels right for you to do at this moment in time, then you got to follow that, honor it, right? When the self says, work on me, focus on me, look after me, we got to follow. Okay, so uh, can you see the chart? Is it on there? Excellent. Seeing those hearts. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mm, all right. So you can see here Venus is at 22 degrees of Scorpio. And she's now starting to break away from that trine with Mars, right? So that grand water trine is officially sort of over at this point, but it will, because she is applying to start trining Neptune, and then Mars will come into 21 degrees. So there's a few things that will unfold. But as we open up today, Venus is applying to the trine with Neptune. And she's also applying to the opposition with Uranus in her own sign. So the thing that I feel about this is not only is Venus opposing Uranus, so that's potentially over the course of this week coming, you might find that relationships of all kinds get a little bit more erratic. Maybe some of the interactions between partners, if you have them, get a little, a little bit more intense. It's also possible that because when Venus connects to Uranus, we can definitely see, things get a little bit cray cray in relationships. Now, interestingly enough, Scorpio is a water sign. Taurus is all about the earth, right? And Venus is the ruler of Taurus. Now, isn't it interesting? And it's really, I say interesting, it's awful what's happened with the hurricane and all the rest of it. Like it's horrible. But many of you will remember I did talk about these kinds of things sort of unfolding some weeks and months ago. And I find it really interesting that we've had this hurricane while the ruler of Venus, the ruler of Taurus, Venus, where Uranus is at the moment, is starting to apply to an opposition to that. Right. So I'm hoping that as we move forward, it starts to sort of dissipate. I just find it really interesting that this is sort of what's unfolded. Now, as we go through the week, and you'll see this, let me set this today's. As we move through the week, you can see that Venus really, as she gets to Sunday, is now literally starting to really feel that opposition to Uranus. And then on top of that, we'll have a square to the moon. I mean, truth be told, it's so quick that, it tends to kind of come and go, but it is something that might show up in some way. On top of that, I mean, this is probably going to be more stuff around tech, to be fair, which I don't know if it has been for anybody else, but tech has been weird since Jupiter went retrograde in Gemini. Makes total sense. But tech has just been all over the place. Like even items that I have that I knew are behaving erratically, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it kind of figures. Now, on top of that, as we come into Sunday, as I said, Venus is now starting to really apply to that trine to Neptune. Venus trine Neptune is beautiful. It's, it can be wonderful words and it can be that soft sheen when we connect to people, and yet we've still got that Uranus opposition that is starting to perfect. So I will say over the course of this week, when it comes to communication around relationships, when it comes to interacting with any form of partner, whether that's personal, professional, or platonic, just keep in mind that things might be a little bit more erratic than usual, all right? Especially when it comes to relationships, partnerships, contracts, anything to do with those matters. And, in particular, this might be around the scorpionic space in your chart. Now, that being said, because Venus rules both the sign of Libra and the sign of Taurus, you may also be feeling those scorpionic themes in the Libran part of your chart and therefore your life, and also the Taurian part of your chart and therefore your life. Right? So, as an example, for me personally, Venus is moving through my fourth house of home, family, property, real estate, etc. All of those topics, I can assure you, are very much to the forefront at this moment in time. Many of you know I've not too long ago moved. I'm in the process of making a house a home and all of that stuff. Libra represents my third house. And this, Scorpio is known to be incredibly dedicated, single-minded, single-focused, etc. And I can tell you, my Libran house, which represents my third house of my work, my data, my daily sort of stuff that I do online, etc. I have been nose to the grindstone, right? I've been loving it. I've been really enjoying it. I'm loving doing these lives every single day, but that single dedicated focus has really shown up for me in that space. And because she also rules Taurus, Taurus is my 10th house. So I've all, in terms of my work on a daily level, using my skills, writing, communicating, websites, online, etc. That's the third house stuff for me. And then the 10th house, my career or my public status, my, radiant reality is my 10th house, if that gives you more of an example. That's how it's been showing up for me. And I've been loving it. Venus. I've seen the absolute worth and value in spending every single day with you guys and finding and feeling the love and the connection and the creativity and the harmony. I've absolutely felt all of that. And yet, because it's in the sign of Scorpio, I have felt that need to be more dedicated, to show up for you guys consistently. And that's not to say, as she moves into other signs, etc., that I won't show up with the same vigor. I just find it really interesting that I can feel that energy moving through me. So I hope this is giving you some ideas of how this might be showing up for you in your own life. It's not just that my Leo ascendant likes to talk about himself. All right. Yardley, hey baby. Hello, the Taurus Garden. Lovely to have you. Tracy, hello, beautiful. Lovely to have you, Mama. I can see you. H Ferrari, hello, happy weekend. And Mika, is it Mika or Micah or Misha? Is it Misha? Yeah, planning on breaking it off with a Pisces man this weekend. Okay, so you are feeling it, right? You're in it. It's happening. Wells of Wisdom Tarot, lovely to have you. Thank you for being here. Okay, so as we come into Monday, what do we see? We've got another grand trine in the air. This one's a little bit wonky, right? Because Venus is applying to that trine to Neptune. Neptune's at 27, Mars is at 21. So it's Mars that's really kind of lagging behind at this moment in time. And that's because he is effectively slowing down. Mars has passed 17 degrees of Cancer, which is the point at which it will retrograde back to. So Mars is currently in its pre-retrograde shadow, as it's known. But we got a grand water trine in the air, right? Venus is giving us one last sort of blessing of that energy. Pronounce Mika. Okay. I wasn't sure. Was that Mika, Micah, Misha? Because you never know, right? And you never want to offend anybody because names are really personal. I never forget, like one of my personal pet hates. I'm just going to say this now. And if you've ever made this mistake or your spell checker thingy has done it for you, I do not hold you responsible. But I hate, and I mean I absolutely hate people calling me Ralph. My name is not Ralph. It's Raf, Rafi, Rafa, Raphael or Raphael Omar Ray if I'm in trouble with either of my parents. The only time I ever hear my full name is when I'm in trouble. But yeah, so I get it. I'm a Kendrick. Hello, lovely to have you. Yeah, so as we move into Monday, we've got that grand water trine again. Again, like I said, it's not very tight. It's a bit wonky because Mars is at 21 of Cancer. But that opposition to Uranus goes through the whole week. She's just going to apply and apply and apply to that, right? It's just going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. As we come into Wednesday, we've got a really nice sextile between Pluto, now direct at 29 of Capricorn. So we're preparing for that to leave. We've got Venus at 28. So I'm loving that because this is an opportunity in some regard that may or may not make itself pronounced on the day, but may sort of evolve after the fact. She's passed there at that point and is now separating from that opposition to Uranus. But I think we're still going to feel it, if I'm completely honest with you. I just have a feeling this week when it comes to certain relationships, things could get a little bit wonky. All right. Now, as we come into Thursday, she's going to be at 29. And then as we move into Friday next week, so next week, we're going to be talking about a whole different Venus, right? A whole different kettle of fish. And so Laurel says, I have multiple business meetings all week coming. And that's okay, right? They're going to be what they need to be. But what I will say, I'm just reading your comment, Kelly, while I'm talking. And Laurel, those meetings are going to be what they're going to be, what they need to be. What you might find is that the results that come out of them are not what you expected. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to turn into a bleep show, right? To watch my mouth. It could just be that, you go in, say, right, this is where the meeting's going, this is likely to be the outcome, and then what you get is vastly different, or it goes in a completely different way. Or, like, as an example, if you're going in, expecting something to happen, let's say you're going for a job interview. Right, you go into the interview and you're interviewing for this position, and you think you're getting this, and then at the end of the interview, they say, "Look, you know what? We don't actually know if you're right for this position, but we've got this other one that we think is perfect for you. Are you interested in that?" Right? So it's still a really good outcome. It's just very surprising. It goes in a completely sort of left of field way. Uranus is the tower, right? I mean, truthfully speaking, the tower is actually Mars. In there's a few ways we could look at this, but to bring it back, Uranus is the tower. It's the tower, and Mars and Uranus are both the tower, depending on the thing. The surprising element of Uranus is the tower. It's where something hits and we just don't expect it. That doesn't always have to be something awful. As an example, right? Let's say you are of childbearing age, or your partner is of childbearing age, and they come to you and say, "Look, we're pregnant." It's like, I'm sorry, well, what now? Uh, Completely surprising, totally left of field, but look at that, right? It's still a wonderful thing to come out of it. Um, all right, so see, there was a significant geomagnetic storm last night that caused the aurora to be seen at the lower latitudes, and it was beautiful by all accounts. It could be. I mean, H Ferrari. If you have Venus in your travel house, if you have Taurus in your travel house, right? If Uranus is aspecting any planet in a travel house of your chart, I would need to see what your chart looks like as a whole. I think on sort of a grander scale, it's possible that whatever is happening in the world, like weather patterns, etc., that could be where the disruptions come from, right? Kelly, isn't it wonderful to have timelines full of like nice things for a change? All right, so I'm going to stop sharing now, just in time for a little swig of tea. Excuse me. And we are going to pull some cards. Okay, so dun, 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 dun. For your first, before we start, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So, for your first card, the love magnet, right? How does this reflect attraction and connection, and how can we really sort of lean into those things using that Venusian energy? I want you guys to take a breath and then hit stop. Or say stop. I don't know if you can hit stop. Hey, Laura Jane. Hello, lovely. Good to have you. How are you? Ooh, 11 p.m. Right, stop. So we have the Seven of Wands. This is really interesting, right? So with everything that I talked about with the disruptions in relationships and connections, etc., and we're talking about love here, the Seven of Wands is a card of really fighting for yourself or fighting for what you believe in, fighting for what you want, fighting for what you genuinely believe you are tied or attuned to. And in order to open up to or improve your relationship energy this week, if you're in a partnership or a relationship, this week it might be about having to fight for what you genuinely want or believe is in this relationship for you. There are times where we have to love hard. There are times where we have to show up as our best self. There are times where we have to show up as maybe our shadow self to protect or to defend a lover, right? Or to defend or protect our relationship. There are times where we have to fight for what we love, right? And I think that's Venus in Scorpio is a perfect example of that kind of energy. If you are single, this might be about fighting for the type of love that you want and not accepting anything else. Holding to your gun so that you don't settle for somebody just for the sake of being able to say, I'm in a relationship. Isn't it better to be in the right one, connected with somebody that you genuinely feel you have a future with, versus just having somebody because it's winter and you don't want to spend the dark days alone? Come on now. We're better than that, right? Surely. For those of you that are widowed and have lost a partner, that Seven of Wands, maybe this is where you're fighting for the memory of your partner. Maybe you're having to, really set a boundary with somebody to say, actually, the person that you remember wasn't that person. I've seen this happen before, actually. For those of you that are not partnered and not looking to be partnered in any way, shape, or form, and just working on yourself, that Seven of Wands is about really fighting for yourself and saying, you know what? No, this time and this space and this energy that I'm carving out for myself, this is where I need to be, right? The What's really hitting home as well for those of you that are choosing to stay single. Not too long ago, I joined a page. Anyone that knows me knows for years I wanted to be a parent. For years, I absolutely did. And then I had some experiences over the last 3 years that unfolded within my wider family. And it made me make the decision to say, actually, you know what? No. First of all, I don't know if I'm cut out for it. And second, I don't know if I would be able to handle some of the challenges or the disappointments that can come from being a parent. And that was my choice. And a lot of people were like, dude, I'm so like that, Raf, you're the most paternal person I've ever met. Like, how can you say that you don't want children? And it wasn't an easy choice to get to that space where I said, actually, you know what? No, I don't think I'm going to go down this route. But I had to I felt like I had to justify that to everybody. And it's like, in the end, I was like, no, actually, I don't. This is not a path that I any longer want to move forward on. And I think carving out that time, as Kelly says, to discover and reignite my own passion for life and all of those things is just as important. So if you're single this week, maybe there's somebody that comes in to challenge that, but maybe you have to fight for it in or around the people that you're connected to, family, etc. So, for our second card, the creative spark, how to delve into our creativity, our self expression, and bring beauty into our lives, we have the High Priest. So, this is actually the Hierophant card. Okay. So, it said, I don't know if you know this, but it said that the most beautiful people are people that have the most symmetrical faces. And it's also said that, when we see things that we consider beautiful, it's because the proportions are correct. Things are distributed evenly. It's like, when you see a really beautiful painting and you're like, oh, like, look at this. Apparently, it's because of the way that the proportions are, and that's a big part of how we see beauty. So the Hierophant card is about structure, hierarchy. It's all of those sort of neat lines, etc. And yet we've got the High Priest or the Hierophant. And this tells me that the way we tap into our creativity is by bringing some order into our lives this week, by really organizing things and getting them. Venus is an energy of cleaning things up, right? I've been going through this house like a crazy person. Like, that's got to go. This needs to be neatened up. Those books are misaligned and all the rest of it. So I can feel this energy working already. The other thing with this as well, in terms of tapping into our self-expression, what is it that you feel like you're ready to start sharing with people on a systematic basis now to really start to define who and how you are and how you're going to present to the world from here on in? I think this is what's coming through from this Hierophant card. It's like an initiation of sharing who we are now as we understand ourselves to be. In terms of the inspirational energies that Venus can bring us, I think this is about getting really serious about the projects that you're working on, right? So whether this is an old project, a new project, something that's just been in your mind, or that you've been sort of trying to shape up and out, this is a time to get really committed to it. Remember, the Hierophant card is about showing up, right? It's about doing the thing properly, doing it the right way, crossing the T's and dotting the I's, so to speak. And it is a very religious slash spiritual card. This is really about, it's a chop wood, carry water card in that it talks about the processes. And then finally, for our third card, Kelly says, I need to pull my finger out. We've got the harmony booster, right? So this is about bringing more harmony, more balance, and pleasure into our lives. It's the Ten of Cups. The easiest way to do this is to give in to the fact that pleasure is your birthright, right? So I'm going to get a little bit risque here. When you think about how human beings are born, right? When you think about how we're made, unless we're, I don't know what the correct term is, but if unless there's an artificial component in your conception, which is possible nowadays, when you think about how children are made, think about the point that we, race towards, let's say. That point, for men and women, is considered, one of the highest states. And when you think about that, it's a blissful state. And so, what this tells me, or what this says to me, is that we are all born from pleasure, right? And so, we're talking about Venus, we're talking about pleasure, we're talking about Scorpio, which is a very sexual sign. There's nothing untoward here, right? We're talking about life at its most basic. That energy, that sexual, sensual energy, that point at which, fertilization takes place. I need to be conscious that, it's only 10 to 1 here in the UK and we're terribly proper. So you kind of get my point, right? Because we be. Ah, Taurus Garden, I can always count on you because we be smashing. That's how we're made, right? I mean, look, there you go. But I'll just have to stop being so terribly British about the whole thing. But that, right? And so the Ten of Cups as this harmony booster is to remind us that we come from bliss and therefore pleasure in all of its forms, sensual, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, is our birthright and it is our natural state of being, right? The fact that we've got the Ten of Cups, then, which is about truly, the Ten of Cups is actually about home. It's abundance and joy and connection and creativity, and it's abundance so vast that we can share it with several people, right? With more than one person. And so, what this tells me is the way that we tap into the harmony is by cultivating and enhancing the relationships that we already have. Okay, all right. So, Ashe, my sister, Ashe. All right. So I'm going to give these a good shuffle. Listen, you'll be out here in these comments making Rafi's cheeks go red. It's Friday. Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm going to give these a shuffle. You guys tell me when to say when to stop, and we'll get into the breakdown for the signs, the sign groupings, right? Starting with the fire signs. All right, stop. Okay, so for the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. No, I just got a bald head, baby. This is a sheen. This is a natural sheen. I'm not sweating. So you've got the Eight of Pentacles. So for the fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. This week on that Venusian level, it's really about the joy and the pleasure that you derive from literally creating money, wealth, and resources from the talent, skills, and abilities that you have, right? And Venus is all of those things. So what are your innate skills? Because those things can, yes, I blushed a little. So for those fire signs, What is it that you can really tap into in that way? For the air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, you have the Five of Cups. All right. So, in terms of what is it that on an internal level for the water signs, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, when it comes to love, creativity, and harmony, what is it that you know is ready to be released? Where is it that you know that you need to lay something to rest or to let it be? And the reason you're being encouraged to do this is because when you put this thing that is holding you back down, you're going to free up a lot of internal space, a lot of mental space, a lot of emotional capacity, and that is energy and fuel and passion and power that you can put into something else, into something that is actually already working or already doing very well. The thing about the Five of Cups is it can be where we grieve an experience or a person or whatever the case might be. And this is basically saying to you, let something go so that something brand new can come in. For the water signs, no, so that was for the water signs. For the air signs, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, you have the death card, right? So for you guys, very much the same. This is, but yeah, so the word transformation came up and the message that came from it inside, what I literally saw was the butterfly on the card, right? And so the message behind this is, as an air sign, this week is really helping you tap into the energy of transformation. This week is really showing you how to shift your perspective when it comes to yourself. This is about you seeing yourself differently and allowing the new version of yourself to emerge from where you're at this moment in time. This could be, you lot need to behave out here in these comments. All right? So, if you're an air sign, an Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra, this week it really is about transformation of self by letting go of the old self, right? So this really is on a personal level. There's some element of yourself, your personality, or the way that you are, the way that you behave, etc., that now needs to be released, that now needs to be liberated so that you can transform in some way. And then for your earth signs, last but never least, Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo, you have the High Priestess, right? So powerful energy this week for the earth signs. This Venus energy is really helping you delve into your deeper aspects of self and spirit. And it's also helping you get a deeper sense of or command of where and how you really express your innate spiritual self, right? So Venus is seeing you tap into your creativity, your harmony, and also your own inspiring energies and talents by letting whatever is at that deepest level or is coming through to you intuitively to be out into the world, right? Remember, this is hidden things revealed. So this is you sharing some deeper aspect of self with the world that maybe you've never have before. Okay, so if you haven't already, please, if you're here, smash that like button. I would appreciate it so, so very much. If you're watching this after the fact, also, please don't forget to smash the like button. I will say thank you so much for spending a part of your Friday with me. I always have so much fun with you guys. It's great to connect with. Yes, you got a glow in the cheeks. It's wonderful to spend time with you guys. I'm just loving being here, and I keep saying it, but like I feel like the luckiest person in the world that I get to do this every single day, and I get to do it with a really amazing community. So, with that said, if you feel like this could help somebody, if you feel like somebody's got some stuff coming up that this might be relevant for, share this video with them, get it out, put it out on your socials. I would love you forever for it. With that said, have a fantastic week. Get out there and be who you are destined to be. Have a fantastic weekend. Take care, and I will see you on Monday.